the refusal to open ourselves up, to expose our deepest fears, insecurities, and desires will ultimately destroy even the greatest love story on earth. Because love in its true form cannot flourish without vulnerability. I'm talking all types of relationships here. Familial, romantic, platonic. I know it's terrifying. I know how exposing it is to let people in. It can expose you and open you up to all kinds of nonsense. Trust me, I know. But that's the price we must pay for deep connections, genuine soul connections. I hear lots of people talk about, oh my God, I wish I had friends, or I just don't know where to find friends like this. And all I can think of is, if you want the kind of friends you can write poetry about, profound connections where you can express your innermost desires and thoughts without shame, then you must risk rejection and hurt. There's no other way. And I think that's why a lot of us don't have the community that we desire. Because if you want a love that sees you, a love that calls you by your name and recognizes your essence, then you must take a leap of faith and you must trust people with your heart. You must trust that the people you love you and that they will catch you if you fall. And I think that's the hardest part, isn't it? I think that's the most difficult part of it. Because the paradox of vulnerability is that you must also know that there's a chance that they won't. And that if that's the case, that you'll be just fine. And it's painful. But you have to do it. There's so many cars going around as I speak. One thing about me is that I will tell you if I like you, how I like you, when I like you, and maybe I'm broken. Maybe there's a hole in my heart. Maybe my brain chemistry is so fucking fucked from all the trauma, and maybe my boundaries are not as great as I think they are. But I want to know why we police people so much when it comes to the matters of the heart. What's so wrong with being human? What's so terrible about having a heart that isn't afraid to feel and a tongue that isn't ashamed to share? People get things wrong all the time. But it's only matters of the heart that we blame people for being manipulated or being hurt by others. Honestly, I don't know about you all, but living with a closed heart is torture. It's awful. I've always been able to bounce back when people break my trust. But the thing that almost killed me was at any point in time pretending my heart wasn't beating when it was. Yes, broken connections hurt a lot, especially when you visualize some kind of future with that person. But I am fully coming to the point where I recognize that a person who does not embrace my heart, a person who does not embrace my authentic being, cannot be the object of my mourning. No. What I'm mourning is the separation from the proximity I felt to that envisioned future of mine, that dream of mine. There's a version of me that came alive with them. And now that there's a separation, I mourn because I wonder when next or if I will ever get to experience this part of me again. Which is a valid worry, but I think it's important to know why your heart is breaking. Because there's genuinely no loss in being removed from a situation where your heart, where your spirit never mattered. That version of me that I was with them has always been me. Is me. Will be me. Will always be me. So I guess the assignment now is to decipher what in that interaction allowed me or encouraged me to be that part of me or to express that version of me. And then find out within myself And if it's something external, pen it down as a requirement in the communities I now seek. That makes sense. Because it's disingenuous, at least for me, I speak for myself, to believe that I, who was before them, has now disappeared with them. No, no one has that kind of power over me. That's ridiculous. Also, I consider it a blessing. Genuinely, I consider it a blessing. What a blessing it is to have hands that don't fit mine, let go, to make space for those that do. What a blessing. It takes a while to find your tribe. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. You won't vibe with everyone, and not everyone will vibe with you. All we can do is get to know all sorts of people, all kinds of people, and then stick to those who love us, who cherish us, and who celebrate us in all that we are. You can't find that if you don't open yourself up. I know it's scary, and it's okay to feel apprehensive. Truly it is. It's just that there's simply no reality, not this one, not any that has been or any that will be, where anyone can convince me that loving people and feeling all the feels is a sign of weakness. None. No reality. I would never be ashamed of showing up warm and tender and open in a world that is increasingly growing cold. Listen, humans, it takes courage to love. It takes courage to love. It takes strength to trust. To stand with your walls down, hoping that the person across you would do the same. I will never be ashamed of seeking true connection. I will never be ashamed of having no game. Hello? That is strength. That's how you find profound, transformative love. Period. Period. Please. Jeez. Thanks. What are we doing? People are proud of being messy. Ew. Not here.